NeverQuitMath.com. Today we're working with numbers of different signs. Alright, pretty much straightforward. So if you're doing a negative number times a negative number, the answer is always positive. If you're doing a positive number times a negative number, the answer is always negative. Also, if you was doing the reverse where it was like a negative times a positive, the answer will also be negative. Alright? So a positive number times a positive number is equal to a positive. Same thing works. The same rules that apply for multiplication also work for division. So if you had two negative numbers in a division problem, you know your answer has to be positive. If you had a positive and a negative number in your division problem, then your answer would be negative. And if you had a positive in a division problem, then your answer would be positive. So in other words, you can replace all these multiplication signs with division signs and the answers will be the same. Alright? So let's deal with addition now. Everyone knows positive plus positive is equal to positive. Alright? Continuing on in that same framework, a negative plus a negative word, a negative plus a negative also equals to a negative. Alright? Also, now when we get to a negative and a positive, and these signs can be reversed, it doesn't matter, the rules change a little bit. So here's the trick. You always want to subtract the smaller from the bigger and keep the sign of the bigger number. Once again, you subtract the smaller from the bigger and keep the sign of the bigger number. So this is your chart you can reference. I'd always recommend writing it down and keep it close to you, especially when you're working on something like PEMDAS. Have that chart there so you can always check it out. Alright? So we're going to do some more examples, and as you know, the only thing I left out so far was subtraction. And the reason why I left subtraction is because I wanted to do it on a different video to give you some different tips. Alright? It's a special trick that I want to go through. So let's move on. Let's check it out now. So let's do some multiplication. Alright? So we all know 7 times 8. Positive times positive is equal to 56. Right? What if I had negative 7 times negative 8? Negative times negative would give me positive 56 for the answer. Alright? Same thing, let's move on. What if I had negative 7 times positive 8? We got a negative and a positive, so the answer is always going to be negative. You get negative 56. And same thing as if we had, let's move on, we had 8 times negative 7. Once again, we look in there. This is positive, this is negative, so the answer is negative. Alright? Let me do another example just to change the numbers around. Negative 3 times 4. We look at it again. We got a negative, we got a positive. And if you got your chart written down next to you, you just look on the chart. You say, hey, negative times positive, that gives me a negative answer. So the answer will be negative 12. Same thing, let's try 9 times negative 3. Once again, positive, negative, so the answer has to be what? Negative. Negative 27. Alright? Same thing works for division. Let's use some fractions because that's usually the harder division problem that we have to do. We rarely see in our work where we're going to actually get a division sign problem like that. So let's deal with the ones that we have to use most of the time. But notice one thing. If you see something like this, let's say 56 divided by 7 or 56 over 7, this is equivalent, same thing as if we had 56 divided by 7. Got it? So if we got 56 divided by 7, they're both positive, so what's going to happen? It's just going to be equal to 8. But if we had negative 56 over 7, we're thinking to ourselves, hold up, we got one negative and one positive. So according to the rules, a negative and a positive means we're going to have what? A negative answer. So that's going to be negative 8. Right? Let's try another one. Negative 32 divided by 4. How many? One negative, one positive. So the answer got to be negative. So negative and positive. Answer is negative. So straight up, negative 8. Alright, let's try another one. Negative 24 over negative 6. Now we're looking at it. We have a negative and a negative. And it's the same thing like multiplication. This is division, so what do? It's like negative 24 divided by negative 6. Two negatives, it's going to give us a positive. Our answer is going to be positive 4. Alright, that's the gist of it. That's the basic ideas. And let's move on to addition.